Solving quadratic equations by completing the squares. Our problem, okay, here's our problem. Y squared minus 4y equals to positive 21. To solve this quadratic equation by completing the square, first we have to make sure that there is no numerical coefficient between our first term. So in this equation, there is no numerical coefficient, so we can proceed in completing the squares. Okay, so again, this is y squared minus 4y. To complete the square, we have to put here the plus sign, and then there will be a term here. We are going to add a term. Now the numerator will be the numerical coefficient of the second term. So we will copy the numerical coefficient, that is 4. And then the numerator will be divided by a constant, and that is positive 2. And then we are going to raise this quantity by 2. So whatever is added on the left side must also be added on the right side. So we have here 21, and then we are going to add 4 divided by 2 raised to the power of 2. And then we have here y squared minus 4y plus 4 divided by 2, that is equal to 2. So this will be 2 raised to the power of 2 equals to 21 plus 4 divided by 2 is 2, so this will be 2 raised to the power of 2. Okay, so y squared minus 4y plus 2 raised to the power of 2 is 4. This will be equal to 21 plus 4. So y squared minus 4y plus 4, this is now a perfect square. So our first term here will be y, and since this is negative, we will also have here the negative sign, and the square root of 4 will be 2. So since this is a perfect square, we will just raise this quantity into 2. And then 21 plus 4 is 25. Now, we are going to get the square root of both sides. So, get the square root of both sides. Okay. So, we will have here the quantity of y minus 2 raised to the power of 2 equals to the square root of 25. Okay. So the square root of the quantity y minus 2 raised to the power of 2, that is equal to the quantity of y minus 2. And the square root of 25 will be plus minus 5. Okay. So to find for y, we will have here y minus 2 equals to plus minus 5. So we need to transpose negative 2 to the other side. So transposing negative 2 will be transposed there to the other side. So transposing, what will be left on the left side will be positive y, and we will have here plus minus 5. If we transpose negative, this will change sign, it will become positive. Okay, so there will be two values for y. Okay, the first value will be the positive 5. So this will be positive 5 plus 2. And the second value for y will be the negative 5. So this will be negative 5 plus 2. Okay. So this will be our y sub 1. 5 plus 2 is 7. And this will be our y sub 2. And it is negative 5 plus 2, that is negative 3. So therefore, y sub 1 equals to positive 7, y sub 2 equals to negative 3. They are our final answers. Solving quadratic equations by completing the squares. Our next problem. we have x squared plus 6x equals to positive 7. To solve quadratic equations by completing the squares, first let us check if we have a numerical coefficient before the first term. Okay, so we have no numerical coefficient before the first term. Let us now proceed. So this will be x squared plus 6x. Okay, so to complete the square, we need to add here the third term, a third term, and this third term will be a fraction. So the numerator will be the numerical coefficient of our second term, so that is positive 6. And the denominator will be a constant 2. This will be raised to the power of 2. Okay. Now, whatever is added on the left side must also be added on the right side, so as not to change our equation. So this will be plus 6 over 2 raised to the power of 2. Okay, so x squared plus 6x plus 6 divided by 2 is 3. So this will be 3 raised to the power of 2, and this will be equal to 7 plus 6 divided by 2, that is 3 raised to the power of 2. So we have here x squared plus 6x plus 3 raised to the power of 2, that is positive 9. This will be equal to 7 plus 9. So x squared plus 6x plus 9, this is already a perfect square. Okay, so to factor this out as a perfect square, x here, the factor of x squared is x, and then since this is positive, we will have here the positive sign also, and then the factors of positive 9 is positive 3, and then since this is a perfect square, we need to raise that to the power of 2, and 7 plus 9 is 16. Now, to remove this perfect square, we need to get the square root. Okay, we need to get the square root of both sides. So this will be the square root of the quantity of x plus 3 raised to the power of 2. Okay, let's change the color of that. So that will be the quantity of x plus 3 raised to the power of 2, and this will also be the square root. Okay, so we are going to get also the square root. So this will be now the square root of 16. Okay, so the square root of the quantity of x plus 3 raised to the power of 2, this will be equal to x plus 3. So this will now be x plus 3, and the square root of positive 16 is plus minus 4. Now, to find for the value of x, we need to transpose positive 3. So we need to transpose this or transfer that to the other side. If we transpose positive 3, what will be left here will only be x. Okay, so we have here plus minus 4, and if we transpose positive, this will change sign. This will become negative. So we will have now two values for x. Our first value will be x plus 4 minus 3, and our second value will be x is equal to negative 4 minus 3. So x here will be equal to 4 minus 3, this is positive 1, and this is our x sub 1. Our x sub 2 will be equal to negative 4 minus 3, that is negative 7. So therefore, x sub 1 equals to positive 1, and x sub 2 equals to negative 7. They are our final answers. Solving quadratic equations by completing the squares. Our next problem, we will have x squared plus 20x minus 44 equals to 0. So to solve for the quadratic equations by completing the square, make sure that there is no numerical coefficient before the first term. Okay, in this equation there is no numerical coefficient before the first term. We can now proceed. We have here x squared plus 20x. Okay, we need to transpose negative 44. We need to transpose the last term. So our last term here is negative 44. So we need to transpose that to the other side. So transposing, what will be left here will be x squared plus 20x. And if we transpose negative, this will change sign. This will become positive 44. Okay. Now, we need to put here a new third term, and this will be, we are going to add. So our new term will be a fraction. Okay. The numerator will be the numerical coefficient of our second term, that is positive 20. And the denominator is a constant 2. And then raise this to the power of 2. Now, whatever is added on the left side must also be added on the right side, so as not to change our equation. We will have here 20 divided by 2 raised to the power of 2. So x squared plus 20x plus 20 divided by 2 is 10. So we have here 10 raised to the power of 2. 44 plus 20 divided by 2, that is 10 raised to the power of 2. Now x squared plus 20x plus 10 raised to 2, that will be equal to 100. So x squared plus 20x plus 10 raised to the power of 2, that is 100. And then we will have here 44 plus 100. X squared plus 20x plus 100. This is a perfect square. Okay, so we can factor this out. The factor of x squared will be x, and then since this is positive, we'll also have here positive. And the factor of 100, this is a perfect square, its perfect square will be 10. And then again, since this is a perfect square, we need to raise this quantity to the power of 2. 44 plus 100, this will give us 144. And then to eliminate the square or the power of 2 sign here, we need to get the square root of both sides. So we will have here the square root, and on the right side we will also get the square root. So this will be the square root of x plus 10 raised to the power of 2, and this will also be the square root of 144. Now, the square root of the quantity of x plus 10 raised to the power of 2, that will be equal to x plus 10. Okay, so this will be equal to x plus 10. Okay, and then the square root now, the square root of 144, this will give us plus minus 12. So to find for the two values of x, first we need to transpose positive 10 to the other side. So transpose positive 10 to the other side. When we transpose positive 10, what will be left on the left side will only be positive x. And we will have here plus minus 12. If we transpose positive, this will change sign. This will become negative. So this will be negative 10. Now, to solve for the first value of x, our first value of x, or x sub 1, will be the positive 12. So this will be positive 12 minus 10. And to solve for x sub 2, we are going to use the negative. So this will be negative 12 minus 10. So our x sub 1 here will be equal to positive 12 minus 10, that is positive 2. And our x sub 2 will be negative 12 minus 10, negative 22. So therefore, x sub 1 equals to positive 2 and x sub 2 equals to negative 22. They are our final answers. Solving quadratic equations by completing the squares. Our next problem, we have y squared plus 8y plus 7 equals to 0. So to solve quadratic equations by completing the squares, make sure that there is no numerical coefficient before our first term. So since there is none, we can now proceed. So first, we need to transpose the last term of our equation to the other side. So we need to transpose positive 7 to the right side. What will be left on the left side will only be y squared plus 8y. This will be equal to 0. Now, if we transpose positive to the other side, this will change sign. So no need to write here 0. So from positive, this will change sign. This will now become negative 7. And then we need to add a new term on the left side. So this will be added. The term here will be a fraction. The numerator will be the numerical coefficient of our second term, that is positive 8. And the denominator will be a constant number, and that is 2. So this term will be raised to the power of 2. Now take note, whatever is added on the left side must also be added on the right side so that our equation will not be changed. 8 plus 2 raised to the power of 2. Y squared plus 8y plus 8 divided by 2 is 4. This will be 4 raised to the power of 2, and this will be negative 7 plus 4 raised to the power of 2. Y squared plus 8y plus 4 raised to the power of 2 is 16 equals to negative 7 plus 16. Y squared plus 8y plus 16. This is already a perfect square. So to factor this out, the factor of y squared as a perfect square will be y. And since this is positive, this will also be addition. And the factors of positive 16 as a perfect square is 4. And then raise the quantity to the power of 2. Negative 16, or rather negative 7 plus 16 is positive 9. And to remove the power of 2 here, we need to get the square root of both sides. So we will get the square root of this side as well as this side. This will now be the square root of the quantity y plus 4 raised to the power of 2 equals to the square root of positive 9. Okay, let's just make this a little longer. And then the square root now of y plus 4 raised to the power of 2. The square root of y plus 4 raised to the power of 2 will now be y plus 4. And the square root of 9 will be plus minus 3. To solve for y, we need again to transpose positive 4 to the other side. So transpose that to the other side. What will be left on the left side will only be positive y. And we have here plus minus 3. If we transpose positive 4, this will change sign. This will become negative 4. So there will be two values of y. We will have here first the positive, so positive 3 minus 4. And the second value will be the negative 3 minus 4. So our y sub 1 here will be 3 minus 4, that is negative 1. And our y sub 2 will be negative 3 minus 4, negative 7. So therefore, y sub 1 equals to negative 1 and y sub 2 equals to negative 7. They are our final answers. Solving quadratic equations by completing the squares. Our next problem, we have a squared minus 12a equals to negative 28. First, let us check if there is a numerical coefficient before a squared. Okay, so since there is none, we can proceed. Now, a squared minus 12a, we will have here a third term in order to complete the square. So our third term here will be added. And our third term will be a fraction. So the numerator will be the numerical coefficient, and that is 12. Disregard the sign, okay? And our denominator will be the number 2. So the number 2 is constant. So we have here plus 12 divided by 2, and then this term will be raised to the power of 2. Now remember, whatever is added on the left side must also be added on the right side, so as not to change the equation. So this will also be plus 12 divided by 2 raised to the power of 2. A squared minus 12a plus 12 divided by 2 is 6 raised to the power of 2. Negative 28 plus 6 raised to the power of 2. So a squared minus 12a plus 36, this will be equal to negative 28 plus 36. A squared minus 12a plus 36 is a perfect square. So since this is a perfect square, the factor now will be the factor of a squared, and that will be a. And since this is minus, we are going also to subtract. So our next term will be the factor, or the square root of 36, and that is equal to 6. Now, since this is a perfect square, we are going to raise this quantity into a power of 2, and then negative 28, okay, negative 28 plus 36 will be positive 8. And then to get this power of 2, to remove that, we need to get the square root of both sides of the equation. So this will be the square root and the square root here on the right side. So this will be the square root of the quantity of a minus 6 raised to the power of 2 equals to the square root of 8. Now, the square root of a minus 6 raised to the power of 2, that will be equal to a minus 6. So we are now going to have here a minus 6. This will be equal to plus, okay, plus minus the square root of 8. Now we can simplify 8. Okay, so we will have here a minus 6 equals to plus minus. So the factors of 8 will be 4 and 2. So this will be 4 times 2. So we will have here a minus 6 is equal to plus minus the square root of 4 is 2. And we will have here the square root of 2. Now to find for a, we need to transpose negative 6 to the other side. So transpose that to the other side. Transposing, what will be left on the left side will be positive a, and we will have here plus minus 2 square root of 2. If we transpose negative, this will change sign, this will become positive 6. So to find for a, there will be two values. The first one will be the positive 2, so this will be positive 2 square root of 2 plus 6. And our next value for a will be the negative, so this will be minus 2 square root of 2 plus 6. Okay, so we can rearrange this. This will be our a sub 1. So this will be 6 plus 2 square root of 2. And this will be our a sub 2. And this will be 6 minus 2 square root of 2. And these are now our final answers.